Mic's on. Hello, hello. Is that it? Am I just talking to myself? Hello? Hello?
What? Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello, students. Like, I know, like, our video's been on for, like, a good 10 minutes now, and I don't know if you have no audio, but if you noticed,
Well, people can hear us.
Please subscribe.
if you've noticed, please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, okay?
I don't know what this tutorial's gonna turn out into. YouTube randomly unsubscribes people. Hey guys, if you've been unsubscribed, please resubscribe. Thanks, it's not my fault. We'll give you an A.
Extra points. If you
So what was happening was, because I left the video, actually that was unintentional. That was a mistake. But you can hear Justin is actually letting out really weird noises. And so we're trying to get him to sneeze outside the door rather than onto us. So we might just all be dead collectively by next week. Your teaching team will be just like Justin. I feel sorry for you. So I guess you guys might ear tutors, or maybe not, because like not all of you are here in lecture 1, but we'll just go around, maybe introduce everybody. The purpose of today is so that I don't need to do all the talking. But I'm not sure. Like, if you can hear Justin, I'm sure you can hear him, right? Can you guys heir him? Look at that. I have a really good mic, so you might actually hear. He's not sounding the greatest. So we're going to ask him to answer all the questions. Let's just go around the table and just make sure you... It's hard to recognize us behind our masks, but who are you?
I'm Nicole. Hi.
Kayla here.
Hi.
Yeah, never mind this one.
I'm Hillary.
That's Hillary. So those are the faces behind the masks, behind your tutorial.
What?
I have no idea. It's been like a very bizarre day. I just finished teaching. So today's tutorial is actually replacing. Originally we had 2, right? Tutorial 1 and 2 that was going to be, I forget which order, but one was on receptive fields and one was on research
STD.
methods.
Yeah.
And then, so those are actually going to be like content-driven ones, and instead, what I thought was this was going to be pretty awkward if we asked you to zoom in your groups of 9 or 10. And what's going to happen is what happens in my small classes, where like I ask the question and then I answer myself, and then I just hallucinate copies of myself. And so instead of doing that, I decided we're going to try out this format. We'll run it like the length of tutorial, try to get to any questions, obviously, before we close it off. But try to address any questions with regards to those 2 key lectures first, but then also, like, if you have a question on the cortical organization stuff, or even stuff I talked about yesterday, which I hope you guys found pretty easy, right? Like, this went over the easier lectures that you're free to ask as well. So you can just type in chat here. I think the last time I checked, there was nothing on Moodle, right? Is anyone checking
Correct.
Moodle? Yeah, it's actually the nothing on Moodle is actually myself, but I actually addressed that question. I addressed that question. Could you stop that? Like, we gave him the option of Skyping in, you know? Like, and he didn't take that option. If I die, you can have my Xbox.
Thank you.
We should draw a poll on, like, YouTube. Out of my subscribers, we'll give my Xbox to one of you when I die next week.
It's a free
Please
giveaway.
subscribe.
That's a free
Giveaway.
giveaway. Anyway, so before we like, honestly, we don't have a lot of questions that did come through even to your tutors. Justin has 2, and we'll get Justin to answer them before.
Okay.
But before we switch to those, I don't know if you're aware, but we have like what I actually have on the YouTube is, like, if you go to the 2051 playlist, there's actually a cartoon video that I created last year on Receptive Fields. I'm trying to find it actually right now. Like, I'm very confused right now because I'm
Link in bio.
link in where?
Link in bio.
Link in bio.
That's where you put the information
Yeah.
of your videos.
I'm just dying right now.
Oh, you're not professional YouTuber.
I am trying to be. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, guys.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next. If I'm not dead and I haven't given you my Xbox yet. All the students are like, I thought this was a tutorial. It has yet to be like a perception question addressed
Someone
here.
says she's watched
the video.
Great,
Super
yeah.
useful.
Oh.
Yeah, I just.
And cute.
So the point I was going to, she gets an A. So I was gonna pull it up, but like I'm so terribly confused right now on my things. I'm not gonna pull it up, but it's like it's there, and it's like a whiteboard review video. It's like maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and it has it's a cartoon thing that makes fun of Justin on the one hand, but then it also reviews the concepts of receptive fields, because what I heard from my students last year was that they found it pretty useful. And do check, because I think that was the first video of a series of cartoons I made last year to review some of the more difficult concepts. Like coming up next week we're doing motion, but I also think I have another video on Reichardt detectors that is very. Oh, I thought someone was knocking. If someone knocks, we'll ask them to answer your questions. Yeah, so on that. So do check that out while we're on that topic. So, Justin, what's the question? Do you want to actually post it in chat?
Yeah, why not?
Terry can have an A also. Yeah, just copy it in chat. It might be kind of big. It's just easier to read for everybody if you just stick it in chat. So if you receive 2 questions, obviously he's not going to copy the name over. By the way, you guys, let us know if you have any questions as well. Before you do that, please accept the fact that my mic is really sensitive. Oh my god. Yeah, it's almost 50 something students just heard you do that.
I'm dying.
Where is your message?
It's an allergic reaction, okay? It's
I'm
not
allergic too.
You're always allergic to me.
Yeah, I'm just allergic to everyone in the department in general. We have to take the stream down afterwards. Hello?
Copying 啊 wait 下啦
Does it take that long to copy and paste?
No, I have to delete
How long does it
the
take you to
link
grade?
for picture. They have a picture link in it.
Oh. Okay, guys,
every 5 seconds.
while we're waiting for Justin, let us know and try to be effective.
Ta-da!
For the class material that you were going to
send
use.
us.
For which class do you need the material for?
Depth perception, right?
Depth perception, depth and size, March 24th, Julie.
Still copy.
Wait, were you the one? You're the one.
Have you got it?
No.
You're the one in
Nothing.
Korea.
Nothing. I sent already.
We saw nothing. Oh, do you know what that might be?
What?
Very bad, guys. There might be a.
Is that a paragraph?
Yeah, there might be a word limit.
Is that a long paragraph?
Paragraph.
Yes, a long paragraph.
I don't see anything.
Oh no, there's nothing here.
Oh.
Wait, only this is in the package, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
this
this is.
And I feel like you can if people can't get them because they don't have postal services, they can
Make it themselves.
or buy it somewhere. I don't know.
That's an idea. I don't know why we haven't. Still not. How many minutes have we been into this tutorial now? I still see nothing. You didn't copy it in.
Ta-da!
Did you press send?
Yes, of course.
Did you?
Is your-
really?
Is your Wi-Fi on?
Is your Wi-Fi on?
Does your phone have?
Wait a minute, it's gray in color.
You see, this is
not
why
black.
I'm writing this together with them
Oh.
because
It's not delivered.
he is clearly very
Yeah.
capable. Right, Justin?
Huh?
I think you should
Can you
separate.
just read it out? Just read it
Okay.
I
out.
think you should separate them so people can.
Yeah, let me separate it. Hang on.
I'm done.
Keep talking.
I have nothing to say. Oh, the
Nothing to say.
I
Okay.
always have something to say. That's even when I'm by myself, it's actually a problem. So what Joe? If you haven't been in my other classes, this is Joe. That's conveniently staring at you, and Joe is currently wearing
Can you
the thing
see it?
I'm gonna send you. Well, not the thing. I'll send you a new one, but
No?
but
Oh.
okay, I see now.
Can you?
Really?
Yeah, but I
don't
can
see
do
anything.
it. So Justin's spam was held for review. So let me show that.
Oh, I got the questions. The 2 questions.
Oh, you got the 2 questions.
Regarding.
Oh, that
I
okay.
got the blurb that says I have 2
just-
questions.
Yeah.
This is working very well.
Regarding. Just this sentence.
That's
cutting 啦，
We
係啊
lost
Okay.
Oh, okay. Do we have?
Oh, it has a word limit.
Okay, I don't care anymore. Do we have this?
It's like -5.
Okay, just read it out. This is gonna be faster.
Okay.
Oh God.
So on page 391, it says that quotation. In an SDT experiment, the tone always has the same intensity. The loudness of the tone, however, can vary from trial to trial. End quotation. So I guess this means experimenter can modify the loudness of tone by themselves. Meanwhile, it also says that quotation. The person perceives different loudness on different trials because of either trial-to-trial changes in attention or changes in the state of the person's auditory system. End quotation. I think this means the perceptual effect bracket, loudness, close bracket, should be totally subjective up to the person himself.
I'm hyperventilating now. You don't need to do the bracket thing. It's fine. What's the question? We haven't gotten to the question.
So I don't quite understand here whether SDT will have different trials with different loudness or SDT will only present same loudness while the perceived different x-axis variables are just feeling of the person himself, question mark.
Yeah, we get that. It's a question mark.
Yeah.
So, sorry, can I just read that?
Here.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't quite understand here whether SDT will have different trials with loudness. Okay, so there's some confusion here. Actually, I got a similar email a few weeks ago, and I addressed it. And the confusion here comes from the fact that you haven't learned the auditory audition lecture yet. Loudness, guys, is not something we manipulate. Loudness is the psychological percept of a waveform that has a given amplitude, right? And so what the subject is manipulating, so let's just stay with the context of STD because it's SDT.
SDT.
Let's not get the acronym wrong. SDT, not STD. It's been a long day. But why am I answering this question? Why aren't you?
Why me?
Yeah, it's gonna be better. It's gonna be better, guys, if it comes from me, right?
Yeah.
So what actually the experimenter is doing is presenting the same tone every single time. And the problem is that every single time we play that same tone, there are certain variables, both psychologically and neurally, that might result in a slightly different percept for the subject. And these slightly different variables could be anything, right? It could be like Justin just made some weird noises in the background. Yeah, exactly like that. It could be, like I said, it could be maybe your attention has shifted somewhere because there are certain sensory processing like features that do are enhanced by attention and what's the word? Disenhanced? Detracted by not lack of attention? I used too many words today. And so there could be many variables that result in a slightly different percept from the subject standpoint, even though you kept repeatedly presenting the same physical thing. So if I present like a tone at 10 decibels several times and I ask you, please rate your perceived loudness of this thing on a scale of 1 to 10, your rating might not be consistent every time. So, what is being manipulated is not the loudness itself. That's what's being measured. And where signal detection then comes in is to try to map based on your tendency to report, stimulus is there or stimulus is not there, or this I'm always going to say is 10 loud. That's measuring your signal detection decision criterion, let's say. So that's sort of what 391 is actually more talking about. It's not manipulating loudness, in fact, and I have to check again, but I don't think it's actually manipulating the actual physical intensity either. Was there a second question there? I forget. Because I got distracted by your brackets.
No, that's it, I think.
That's it. Does anyone have any other things right now? Oh, you had another question.
Yeah, there's a part
Okay, you're
two
answering that. Okay, I'm really struggling right now to get through your questions.
Let me see if I can copy it.
Again.
Again.
Is that noise your hard drive?
The server.
Oh God, I hope that can't possibly be picked up by that. Yeah, that's our server.
Oh, the server, right, yeah.
Our 50 some odd students in YouTube chat. Do you have any questions you want to ask Justin?
Or other tutors.
Or other tutors? Or myself about my life in general? I'll answer them anyway. I'll just make up questions and answer them.
Do we have to study parts of the textbook
What?
that
Why
aren't
is your
included
chat so much
in the PowerPoint?
faster? Oh, I don't know what I want to answer first. These two are such great questions. Ooh. Oh, I'll answer the first one because that's a teacher question. So Charlotte says, do we have to study parts of the textbook that aren't included in the PowerPoint? My answer to this is usually, okay, so it depends on what your question is. Are you asking, like, do we have to study topics or specific, specific details related to a concept that I have taught? So if I have taught a concept, I expect that that's fair game for testing. So if I've taught it in the context of my lecture. If I did not cover that concept, then you can bet that I will not test it. So I hope that helps you feel a little bit better. I think, and I don't know if I had time to say this on my first lecture because it was such a blur, but the best way to study for this course is really to make sure you're understanding the lecture content first and foremost. Most of my test questions, for sure, are things that I have mentioned. Great, I'm done. I'm so confused by like Justin's like part and partial right now. Is it Halleck?
This is Jalek. She's in my lab.
Jalek. Okay, Jalek says, for the Hermann grid, I understand the inhibition part of the donut. Sorry, my scroll. Donut in the center is stimulated more, but why does that make us see dark spots between the boxes? Yeah, I think I covered that, right? Anyone want to give that a shot? Okay, Justin. I'm going to move your chair outside the door. Like, if you guys notice, like, Hillary's chair has gotten further and further away. Soon, like, Hillary's going to be all the way over there outside, like, the window.
Oh, it's raining.
Where is it?
So, Hermann grid, understanding inhibition part of the donut is stimulated more, but why does that make us see dark spots between the boxes? I covered that, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone remember what I covered? Tutors? You see, sometimes, guys, your tutors don't even listen to me. So, like, sometimes you should be teaching them. You know? No, life of a teacher. I could spend, like, 3 hours. You should see all their embarrassed looks right now. It's great. You know what would be great? If I could draw... Actually, I can draw on here. Can you pass me a marker? So, let me tell you a story. No, you don't want to. This stream will never end. Why is this textbook still on my lap? So the issue with hey, at the very least you can draw Hermann grid. You can do that much. Draw Hermann grid.
You don't actually see dark spots and the spot that you're actually looking at, right? It's the dark spots like occur where you're
This is gonna take a long time. Oh, that's too high. Hey, mind the camera. No. We should have more of these podcasts because this is like ultra tutor embarrassment moment, like for an hour. You see it? I don't see anything right now because of your head, but it's gonna work, I think. Somehow it's not dark. Do you need more ink?
Yes, please.
Can you pass him that other black one? Wow, that marker stinks.
Wow.
If you guys are worried whether that will come off, never mind. It'll just come off my paycheck. it will wipe off. Don't worry. What is this? Okay, we can throw that out now. Oh, did that land?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have streamed that. We're streaming all irrelevant things right now.
Okay. Gold spot.
No, we keep losing students now. That is not a Herman grid. What is this?
A trapezoid.
Have you ever seen a Herman grid that looks like the students can't even
has
see it?
It's too
You
light.
ready?
Oh no,
too
you
light?
can. You can.
you see it?
I think you can. Like.
Well, I hope you guys can see it, cause here comes like
Does Justin need water or something?
Justin needs to be. It's too late, guys.
Quarantined.
It's actually too late. The moment he walked in my office, he let out this huge sneeze. Yes, he was wearing a mask, but like, we're all just looking at him like, thanks. And it was literally as soon as he walked in. It wasn't like, please sneeze outside then. Walk in, it was like, walk in and do the dude. You know, like, do the duty. Anyway, so, sorry. The question. This is OCDing me right now. So, guys, imagine that. So, I'm just. This is really difficult. I don't think you can see it. Oh, you can see it. Does a red work better? Can you give me the red? I'm going to draw the donut with the red. Give me the red also.
Whoa!
You know, if we ran our lectures like this, we would never get through any
Cannot
content.
say it, audio.
Cannot see
Cannot say
it.
it.
You know what you guys need? I know what you guys need. You guys need my drawing. Whoa. What is this?
Go home now.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Oh, it works. So it's like actually like this, right? Versus, so this is at the intersection. Versus, like I would draw it here, but I can't. Can they see that? Oh yeah, they can see it there.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know, actually the red comes out better. The red comes out better, so let's do the grid like this. Look at that. Oh, kind of. Kind of. You guys can see like this donut is in the intersection, right? And then I'm just gonna make another donut here. Because Justin's drawing is like, he can't even do the simplest task. Huh? Okay, so I just want to draw a second donut here beside that. I don't know if you're gonna see it though. Not quite equivalent size, but so what I want to show you is here. Let's imagine this is a plus, 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 and this is a minus, 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 minus in the surround, in the inhibitory surround, right? Remember that in order for my surround to exert inhibition, light needs to fall on it. Remember that. And so at this point, I have 4 sections of inhibition. I've got this section, I've got this section, and this section here. Did that come out on camera? I'm just gonna pause.
Maybe you should say
Yeah, kind
sections
of.
of like on the road on the grid.
Let us know in chat. Like, I think kind of we can see it. Is it how? No, I was gonna show we turn off the light.
A4.
We definitely should not turn off the light. Oh yeah,
we
let's
draw
see an
an A4
A4.
paper,
Yeah, just
yeah.
go to my printer. In fact, the easiest thing would have been just to turn that camera to my whiteboard. there's a whiteboard. There's a whiteboard right here.
Keep talking. Let me replicate.
You're replicating?
Yeah, of course. I'm good at drawing.
Anyway, so the point here is, okay, we've got one spot here, one spot here, one spot here, one spot here. That is exerting inhibitory influence.
Another one. Okay.
Now let's look at the second donut that falls in the alleyway rather than the intersection. And so now, how much of the surround is being stimulated? We've actually got 2 spots only, this spot and this spot. Okay, so if we had equivalent center surround donuts, one at this location in the intersection and one at the alleyway, okay, then which one has more inhibition? This one has more inhibition, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. At least he can copy. Let us know. Let us know if there's anything else. Wow, that marker smells. I will improve on the draw ability of my
I think
windows.
you need another one. Another block.
Then I'm just going down here. Compared to figure D, the 2n and s plus n distribution are more separated, which causes the very small portion of blah, blah, blah. Neutral criterion, blah, blah, blah. However, since Shanna is more sensitive for distribution curves of both, blah, blah, blah. No, sorry. This is a question. However, since Shanna is more sensitive, will her distribution curves of both n and s plus n be more narrowed compared to others?
ทำไมตัวได้กันหมด
I think actually I can already see
I'll hold it.
I think this point is over, Justin.
Painful to watch.
Yeah, that's what I drew, just mirror flipped.
Oh, I can do this.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Hillary's more useful than Justin. And Justin has Ebola.
We're gonna die together.
Justin, actually, do you have the slide? Oh, you don't. Is it because, we
For
had
tutorial.
that, yeah, we had that tutorial slide for that.
Yes, we do.
Do
you want me to draw again?
No,
I'm very
actually,
good with drawing.
yeah, can you draw that? Can you draw it? Just draw someone with spread curves and someone with not spread curves. Like, I wonder if the student who asked this question is actually here.
Probably not, right?
No, that's why they asked the question.
Do you want to specify which donut has more inhibition? Is that like?
Yeah, that one with the more color.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one.
And that's why you see
Great.
a dot.
So, by the way, following up on that, while Justin is still juggle busing, this is the most structured tutorial ever. So the question is, what is that?
This is our second.
Okay, guys, I forgot. I'm going back to that right now.
Okay. Back
So
to
then the question
donuts.
is, how come we have that problem when we move our eyes and fixate directly at the center? How come that illusory dark spot disappears? Does anyone know? I also adjust this question, right? Any of our tutors know?
Because the light's in your periphery, in that sense. So you don't see it when you're actually focusing on one spot.
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the size of your donuts. Are the size of your donuts bigger or smaller in fovea? Okay, I'm just gonna push this along. They're smaller in fovea. The smaller in fovea. Why does it matter, guys? It matters because, give me that.
Better detail.
Because for this to hold true, this is assuming that your entire donut leaks towards these grids over here, right? Right? If I had the entire donut just within here, like there's the center and then there's the surround here, well then the center and the surround are equally stimulated, right? And so it all relates to when I'm moving from central vision to peripheral vision, your donuts are actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so if I'm fixating directly here now, I'm using very tiny receptive fields that aren't really being hindered by the inhibitory surrounds here. But by contrast, in the periphery, where I'm not fixating, I have these gigantic donuts in the intersections. Okay? So that's why. Okay, so back to that question. God, we're going to fall behind very, very soon. We're already very behind. So this, again, the question was, so I'm not sure if you guys, this is like, people taught like this in like, I'm sure 1990s. Because I'm sure my,
Overhead projector.
yeah, they're too young for that.
I know.
I was actually wondering if you guys know why it's called a podcast. And I was like, they still sell iPods. And apparently they do.
Oh, those mini ones.
Yeah, but the
The
very
shuffles.
first iPod, guys, was this is very scientific. Was released in 2001. So that was like before they were born.
I don't want to know.
Could you stop making those noises? So this is back to the signal detection question from your textbook, and I don't know how many of you actually remember it because I don't really teach it like this, and so sometimes people find it confusing. Remember that regardless of sometimes I have trials where I give you the stimulus, and sometimes I have catch trials where there's actually no stimulus. And I mix them all together, and I ask you to tell me whenever you have detected a stimulus. Okay? So now what is being plotted in your textbook is basically the proportion of times when there is no signal under the N curve that you are responding, okay, and also the proportion of time that you're responding under the signal plus noise curve. So this is actually really your response rate. But if you imagine this is like your feelings, remember when I taught it like feelings elicited, right? And so if you look here, the curves overlapping means that like at some point in this like ambiguous zone in the middle, okay, you kind of have the same feelings elicited for trials where there is only noise or when there is signal plus noise. And so this is like kind of your ambiguous zone. And so basically what I'm trying to say to you is that in an individual where you have very high sensitivity, your noise curve and your signal plus noise curve will be very, very far apart. Can you make a very far apart non-overlapping one or a slightly overlapping one?
Do you want narrow as well? No?
Not yet. We can make a third narrow one. Okay. So we have one subject here with two quite overlapping curves, which means that his sensitivity is not, his true sensitivity, D prime, is not going to be very good, right? Like depending on where his decision criterion is. Like let's say it is like dead down the middle, right? He's gonna make a significant amount of false alarms because of these overlaps. Now let's come to a more sensitive individual. What we'll find is that their noise curve and their signal plus noise curve are a lot more laterally separated. And so what we have is that let's say we again put the decision criterion here down the middle, then this person is going to be much less likely to make a false alarm. So this person is going to be a lot more sensitive. We have another scenario where we can also have narrower curves, but all that's changing is just like your variance of the response. Nothing else is really changing, right? I guess the spread is I guess what we're trying to get is the spread is the most important. So let's just relate this back to how I taught it when I said D prime is going to be the number of what, guys? What's D prime?
Hit minus
False alarms. Hits minus false alarms. In fact, the D prime that you calculate using that formula, the Z hit minus Z false alarm, is going to be completely equivalent to the distance between these two. So basically what we're telling you is all that matters is basically the separation of these two curves. Okay, and that's conceptually what is sensitivity. Sensitivity is dictated by how spread these two curves are. And I've given you the formulaic definition. When I initially taught it in week 1. Okay, so I think we need to move on from this question because we're falling super behind. Why did you do that? Like, I have to navigate so many Justins before. Is it Wackis? Wait. I'm so sorry. Like my name things are terrible.
This one.
When will yesterday's lecture recording be available? So as you notice that every single time I teach, I will take it down, and that's for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons is to wipe out chat so your names aren't there because it is a public domain. But the second reason is also, as you have noticed, knock out the red line notes because So this is how I teach. It's the same thing when I teach in the lecture hall. I reward students who come here and try to learn when I'm actually teaching it. And those who, it's the same thing. Those who can't make it to class then have to ask their friends for the red line notes. It's the same thing when I teach online. So the two things are happening. I'm removing chat. I'm also removing red line notes, and I'm removing any problems with the recording. So yesterday I taught you guys, and apparently, actually, there really was something wrong with the mic. So we're like, what are you talking about? It was KY who messaged me and said, your mic is funny, and I thought it was her internet, but my mic was like faced down. It was something funky orientation. It sounded like a lot of crackling, so I apologize for that. But so I had to take it down and strip the audio, clean it, and then match it back. So that's why it comes down. It'll go back up probably around the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, before I finish work for the week. So something like that. It's just, it takes a little bit of work to put it back up to finish that. Hi, Hillary. Oh, hi, Hillary.
Hi. Hi, John.
Is that a question? Hillary can answer that question.
I say hi back.
Great. Question is done. This is our first tutor who has answered a question. Stephanie, does anyone have the electronic version of the textbook which can be shared? Stephanie, I can't condone any illegal activity. But I think Stephanie's does anyone does not actually ask us, so it doesn't really matter. So feel free, guys, to answer Stephanie. Okay, so now we're all dead. So someone else can have my Switch.
Wait, sorry.
I also have a Nintendo Classic.
Oh, that's
Just giving away all my stuff now because I'm clearly done. I'm clearly done.
need tissue?
Okay, you know what? No, he's just gonna stand right here. You can stand here. I'm gonna keep doing these questions. Jesus Christ.
But they're still here.
Yeah.
You have this. You have an alcohol spray.
Yeah, alcohol.
So we're gonna spray his entire body. Are you sure you don't have Ebola?
I'm sure.
My God.
Hillary's gone. Bye. If you notice the tutor missing, it's because they had enough. Does Justin need water or something? Oh, this question was addressed. Kobe, is that a question? Is that the beef? Yeah. I've actually got multiple career aspirations. We can talk about that another day.
What?
Justin,
Making excuses.
Oh my God. Justin, some question.
Cannot
It's an excuse. Cannot see it. Okay, yep, it comes out. Rondi, I'm so sorry. Finally, we're at your question. For the retina topic map, I don't understand why points are the same distance apart on the retina, but not on the cortex. Why is the representation on cortex distorted? What's the rationale behind it? Well, that's a great question that I also addressed on the lecture, but that all my tutors are just their heads down because they don't want to answer this question. Heads down.
Representation.
Why, guys? My vision students. Why? But why though? But why? I'll give you a term.
Magnify?
Cortical magnification. Why? But first, what is cortical magnification? That's it? That's all I get. Actually, guys, I didn't even need to invite Ebola over here. I could have just done this by myself at my desk. The poor thing might just drop dead, okay? It's okay. I would tap you, but... I'm sick! Don't worry, guys. I wash my clothes every day. Okay, so cortical magnification, I think you understand now. You're just asking why, right? So what Roddy's referring to is the fact that we have a bigger representation of the central foveal vision in terms of how much cortex is dedicated to processing that area versus in the periphery, right? So if we imagine, I don't even want to bother with that anymore. Can you make another drawing?
Of what?
Circles.
Circles.
Hillary is like,
Paper.
What circles?
a visual field.
Oh. Okay.
I feel like we're really behind now. No, I think we're near like answer on the bottom right.
Circle.
That's it? That's all you got?
That's it.
Like even they can't see it. Okay, I'll just leave it like that for now. It's okay, I'll sacrifice myself. I'll touch that pen marker. So this is a very big foveal vision, but like your fixation area, the fovea, okay, is going to have much more brain dedicated to that in V1 to process this region as compared to here. If you remember that image I showed you with like those, I think those football players, right? So it's like there are two answers to the why, right? There's the why, like neurally, it's just we have more neurons dedicated to it. If you're asking me evolutionarily why, then that's very easy, right? Because the most important things that we need to see detail for are usually things we are directly fixating at. Usually things we are directly paying attention to, orienting to, and foveating, right? And in many ways, it makes a lot of evolutionary sense to have less resolution of the peripheral visual field, because you kind of, like, there's no benefit for you to have all the details there when all you care about is that thing in the center. So that would be my why from an evolutionary standpoint. And in fact, it's interesting. I could go on this whole monologue about, this is what I do when I sleep. I just talk about like the ecological relevance of like neurons in the visual cortex.
When you sleep.
Yeah, when I it's really soothing. I just go through this, like, you know, to my stuffed dogs. And they're just like, you can see them. They're like toy dog. You can see them rolling their eyes at you. But anyway, that's from an evolutionary standpoint. But it's interesting you ask that question because I don't know if you know this, but a lot of neurons configurations, not just in the visual system, but also in the auditory system, are specifically tuned to things that we need to be able to detect in the world. So it's almost from an evolutionary perspective, you know, we have the machinery for what we actually need to see. So that's the answer to that. Yes, makes sense. Another question is selective adaptation. What are the implications of sensitivity of the neuron dipping? How long does it take to adapt to a stimulus? Something pokeballs. What were pokeballs? Oh, my donuts? Maybe my donuts. Implication of sensitivity of the neuron dipping. So I think I know what you're talking about there. Do you remember that slide? Can you draw it also?
Which slide?
The adaptation one. Or like we had like before adaptation, all the neurons had the like same height curve, and then after adaptation, only the 90-degree one went down. Do you remember that one?
Oh.
Yeah. He's just saying, oh, he doesn't remember. Okay, we'll just get KY to draw it. It's too late. We already have germs.
Yeah. You sure you don't have an alcohol spray somewhere?
I'll spray. I have only a little bit of. Oh, do you want alcohol wipes?
I have a hand sanitizer. You want some hand sanitizer?
No, you know what? We need to wipe everything around him, including like myself and Hillary.
Yes.
Here, Hillary. Here's a box of like I'm not sure he needs it, right? He's the one perpetuating the germs.
Allergic reaction, okay?
This is not an allergic reaction when it like goes on and on and.
I'm gonna close the lid.
Is you should feel sorry for us. We're sacrificing ourselves for you.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna
this.
put my laptop over here.
Ooh, Charlotte. Stephanie says you can contact me. I'm gonna contact you too, Charlotte. I want an electronic. Oh, did I say that out loud?
You can ask me too.
You have to search for that.
Okay.
I don't know why my drawing is
Oh,
like
every
this.
question is such a pain.
This is before, okay?
It looks like moments, singlings.
Jesus Christ. Okay, you need some angles down there. Nothing right now.
New paper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause she's just gonna get more dirty.
I'm gonna wipe your markers.
Yeah, thanks.
99.
I'm actually just gonna throw them all out.
You don't care.
From here!
But this is from here.
嗰個你有黑成角㗎嘛呢度？
Okay.
This is what happens, guys, off the camera. Outside of the classroom.
I'm like almost too scared to drink my water because I don't want to take off my mask.
So when he leaves today, I'm fully alcoholing down this table.
Yeah.
The chair, I'm just gonna discard. I'm just gonna discard the chair. Are we done now? Jesus Christ! Someone's been waiting. Jolly's been waiting. Oh, thank you. I'll put our wipes here right now. Okay. All right, I'm gonna just read this again. Implications of that dropping. Okay, so I don't know if you remember yesterday's lecture if you're around, but remember we did the face adaptation. I'm just gonna go backwards on your question here. It doesn't take a long time, like 30 to 60 seconds to adapt to a stimulus, but you really need to be like not moving your gaze a lot. You need to be fixating at a fixed position. It doesn't need to be the center of the target, but you need to be fixating at the same location. And why is that, by the way? I'm never going to get to the first part of your question. That's because, remember, every location in your visual field is represented by a different subset, a cascade of neurons, right? There's the one right in the middle, there's the one beside that, there's another one beside that. And the whole notion of trying to fatigue or of trying to adapt that neuron with the receptive field right at that location you're looking at is that you're really still looking at that location you're looking at, right? So if you shift around, then you're tapping into this neuron, then you're tapping into this neuron, so it's never going to fatigue. So if you're maintaining your fixation, about 30 to 60 seconds. So the implications of that, so like I don't know if you guys remember that part of the lecture, but I remember I showed like this was the one with the orientation tuning curve, and I said, well, what's one way of showing that humans really do have orientation tuning, because it's not like we can take an electrode and prod around the human brain like we can in the cat or in the monkey. And I said one useful tool that physiologists and also psychologists use is this idea of selective adaptation. So what's being shown here, now imagine in the human, we've got this entire subset of neurons, each representing different angles from 0 to 90 to 180, whatever, okay? At the beginning, before adaptation, your sensitivity of that neuron, okay, will all be equivalent because they haven't been adapted to. So they're pretty much flat. You're sensitive to all angles. And then after adaptation, you're fixating at, it turns out it's going to be the 90-degree stimulus. Then you're going to get something like this, right? If you remember that part of the slide. And so you're going to get the dip, obviously, at the angle that you adapted to, but then you're also going to get like a gradual, you did that, right? So you see KY did the gradual dip, also around 90 degrees too, because when you adapt to the 90-degree stimulus, you also simultaneously, though not as well, also adapt to the 91 degree, to the 89 degree. So similar orientations also adapt. So the implications of that, aside from being a useful neuroscience tool to show there are specialized neurons, it's not so much the implication of adaptation as a mechanism itself, at least in this case, because we're not talking about light and dark adaptation. I think it's more of showing you, because I can so selectively adapt, it's for you to understand, oh, I really do have such finely tuned orientation mechanisms in the visual cortex. So that's how I would answer that question. Yan Cheng Bo. Okay, I think we're far too behind now too. Or we can just refer to the 5th slide of week 3 lecture notes. What are we talking about? Are we talking about receptive fields? We might be talking about the Hermann grid or something.
Yeah,
is that right?
Hermann grid.
Great. Stephanie, we can contact me. Okay. Best 3D model of brain electronically. Any recommendations? Yeah, my brain.
What does this mean?
Yeah, no, so I guess this is just a random question. Shelly, wait, hold on, Shelly, you're in this class? You can't be in this class. You're in my other class. I'm so confused. Why are you here? We don't need to answer this question. Shelly, I have already fallen asleep because it took so long to get to this question. I'll have to look into it. All of them, I think, at this time, you have to pay for it. I think Shelly is asking just to kind of poke around and learn anatomy. I don't think this has anything to do with the course, like any specific concept in the course. I have to check. I don't think I've ever found a good one. Oh, you could, it won't be in the form of, like, can you remove Joe's cap? So that's his skull. You shouldn't touch things! I want to keep that.
Some more.
That was expensive. Can you stop touching my things?
But then no one
can touch them now.
No, what I wanted to say was that those
they see
those
the
3D, the free tools. There's one where you can scroll around and put like your marker at something, and it could return a coordinate and potentially a label. But it won't be in the form of these like inflated hemispheres. It'll be like in the form of like a neuroanatomy. This slice, this slice, this. So I'm not sure how useful that is, but I can send you a link later when I'm done class here.
Electronic.
How to contact you? Oh, okay. I think she's asking Charlotte. Why are we still here? You need to disinfect your office. Is that the same Suki? I know, but I think it's actually too late. Like, do you notice we've spent too much time here together? So all of us are going to be dead next week. So I'm not entirely sure what university protocol is when all your teachers are dead. I don't know. You might need to email somebody. If we stop replying and because usually at least I never do that. But if you don't see any sign of life next week, please call for help. We might just all be dead, like right here on the floor. Like no one has noticed for a week.
Like Joe.
Joe's
I don't think that's how Joe goes back together.
I'll fix it.
You should open the windows. I can't open my windows. Like these, I learned these things are not openable. You have to take a chair and like chuck it.
Justin should have his own corner.
I'm in the corner.
Already in the corner.
Justin should have his own corner in the room. He actually should have his corner, own corner. He has his own corner in the lecture hall. You know what's that? Dorita, are you Canadian? Out, about, and sorry. Yeah, I'm Canadian. Well, how are you my student and not know that? That's an F, Charlotte. Michelle, Justin, we did that already. For Hubel and Weasel's cube model, when we say an electrode penetrates the cortex perpendicular, does it penetrate the location or orientation column? And great question. I need to. Oh, actually, yeah. Can we keep Joe to Joe? I would use Joe. Joe has been destroyed.
I was in the process of.
Jesus Christ. Joe has one hemisphere intact, so like I just great. Give me an electrode. Yeah, like all these infected things are fine now. It's fine. It's all infected. It doesn't matter. It's too late. Okay, so I would hate to say this, but I guess it does depend on the size of your electrode. Because there's, it is really because remember, like I you know what? You're not the first student. There are many students who confuse this term location column and what it means. It has nothing to do with retinopathy, okay? Please make sure you understand that. Location column is unfortunately termed because what it is representing is a collection of many, I don't, like, why do you have to touch things? Imagine you had more than 4, right? You had neurons representing the whole spectrum of 0 to 360 degrees. And I told you that they're organized systematically side by side to each other, right? And remember that a location column is the whole strip of 0 to 360. So now, if you imagine that cube model applied to also it's kind of applied to all patches along the surface. And so when I'm going perpendicular to the surface, I'm going perpendicular along this curvature, right?
I don't know if they can see that.
Oh.
You have to go yeah.
Yeah, okay, so basically I'm going perpendicular along. So depending on the size of it, technically, and I think I had on your slide, I said one location column is 1 mm wide. And so it depends on unfortunately, it does depend on the width of your electrode. But if your electrode is 1 mm, then yes, you do poke into a location column, which will pick up all 360 degrees. So that's the unfortunate answer to that. What is the function of opsin in bleaching mechanisms? Just being twisted by retinal to let in ions. Yeah. Okay, I never thought I'd have to go back to that lecture. I'm actually going to try to... I'm gonna just do it from there. I'm just gonna yell. Is that okay? I'm gonna just yell. I'm just gonna show it on my computer over there and just yell into this side. Or like what I say, you guys can echo. Yeah, okay, that's good too. I'm just gonna go disinfect my desk now while I'm doing this. Okay, I'm gonna need a slide for this. That's why I'm gonna come and do that. Let us know if there's any questions because we are nearing like kind of the tail end of our hour. I'm sure all of us would like to disinfect. So was this lecture 2, I think?
Yeah. The camera is a bit tilted.
My camera's tilted?
Yeah.
We don't need to see Justin, right? We just
Yeah.
like move like this. Like this. We just cut off Justin, it's fine. Oops. Sorry guys, there we go. That's fixed now. Let me find that slide.
Should I fix him?
Fixing Joe.
Fixing Joe. I think you have to like.
Oh yeah, you have to like.
You touched his hand.
What is happening?
my God.
I don't want to know.
I got cooties.
Joe is back.
I nursed him to health.
I don't care. Okay, so, this was an ordeal.
No, really?
Oh, PPT.
No, there's just a lag. I think it's back.
Oh, just
so
a
this
lag.
is the slide we're talking about. It's actually worth coming back to because I know like students had trouble with this. So remember this was all about the question of, you guys can hear me, right? So this was the question about how we transduce the light energy into something that's like an electrical signal. And so if we look at, actually, in fact, I should be able to see it now, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'll just stay here. So we've got the opsin component and the retinal pigment part of it. If you remember here, and we zoom in a little bit to this configuration here, and you see if we look at this rhodopsin in this case, because it's a rod, you've got all these like protein chunks over here organized in this like funky manner. And so the opsin is you're right in some way. It is the thing that gates the ions from flowing in and depolarizing that receptor. And beyond being the thing that gates, it's hard to think of it as an alone thing because the opsin is attached to the retinal, and in order for the opsin to have any relevance, you have to understand what the retinal role is, right? And the retinal's role is to absorb that photon, okay, which results in that which results in that opsin twisting, this contraption twisting, and it's this opsin contraption twisting that lets the ions flow through and depolarize. So, like I already forgot what the original question was.
What's the function of opsin?
Yeah, so that is the function. It's basically that morphological plug that gets unplugged when the retinal absorbs that photon.
Like, would it be wrong to kind of make an analogy to like enzymes? Because they don't get used over.
No, it wouldn't be wrong. And for those of you who took neuroscience with me, these are exactly how your metabotropic receptors work as well, right? Okay, so let me just take this off and bring you back. There we go. Great. Did I miss anything else?
No.
There are no more questions.
There are no more questions, guys.
Where's this Justin?
Joe's gonna catch whatever Justin has. I know. It's not just Joe. So let us all pray for each other. And I will still, you know what I'll do? I'll just like, however many students we have, before I breathe my last breath, I will gift out my Xbox. Anything else to gift? What else do you guys want?
A.
Oh, you guys all. I need to issue you all A's before I die. Yeah, I know. This is what you've done. I haven't even finished teaching. Anyway, so that's it. We'll give you 10 seconds to like flag us down if there's anything else, but hope you enjoyed this not so great tutorial where we infected each other No, actually, no,
other-
sorry, let's correct that. We were infected by one individual. Can you guys do ASMR? What is this? What is an ASMR?
It's
Am I
like
too old?
a Gen Z thing.
What's a Gen Z thing?
Like where you like breathe into the you make noises.
I don't
Like a
think
mic.
anyone with Ebola should be breathing into my mic.
It's like
That's
a
an expensive
soothing-
mic. Autonomous sensory meridian response. Can someone please demonstrate using
You're
their
like-
camera and let?
No, you're
please
supposed to
post
like
this.
crinkle paper or something.
There will be no.
To
We will be
soothe-
crinkling Justin.
all the jerks.
I don't understand what that is supposed
It's like
to.
supposed to soothe you.
That does not soothe me.
Yeah,
I
no.
cannot be soothed. I could not have been soothed for 4 years already. Since I started here. Okay, great. So there's nothing else, then we'll close it. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Take care. We'll see you next week. I'll just stop my stream. Don't say anything yet. Don't make any noise.